right. Can you all see my screen? Cool. All right. So module 1, week 3, not day 3, day 2. Scroll down. We're going to go on Boggle. I'm going to go ahead and fork this over to my personal GitHub, forking that over. While it is doing that, do I even have it? Ooh, there we go. All right, forking it over. This is the VS Code from last night, doing mode. Let's go ahead and navigate. CD, go up 1 level, up 2 levels, clear the terminal. So I'm in Charlie challenges. I can list everything out. There we go. That's where I want to be. Now I'm in Top Preet Boggle 1. I'm going to go ahead and git clone this by clicking the green code button, copying it to the clipboard. And now I'm doing git clone, pasting that there. List everything out. Now I can see Boggle 1 is right there. And I'm going to CD into Boggle 1 and open this into a new VS Code window. Excuse me. All right. So I'm going to actually look at the README just to read through it. So basic BoggleBoard, the first iteration of a board will not care if it's possible for a word to be created with our generated board. In other words, we're just going to focus on building out the necessary data structure to emulate our board. So the BoggleBoard class has one core instance method. It's called shake. All right. So our output should be something like that. And when we shake, we can see some random letters. Yeah. So let's just do step 1 first. All right. So I've got the BoggleBoard. Okay, so it's already kind of got the skeleton for it. So what are some ways people created a game board? What data structure do you all use? Anybody?
In an array.
An array. So we have an array. Anybody else use something other than just an array?
I was just say, sorry, go ahead. No, go.
I was going to say my original thought process was to use an array of arrays.
Like a nested array, like a matrix.
Yeah.
So I'll just do self.game board. So an array of arrays. So we have an array. Well, I don't know why I did that. Enter of arrays. So something that represents like the game board, like that.
I did that, but with a dictionary instead, and then had a function that loads the board based on the dictionary.
Okay, so of the dictionary. So what did the dictionary look like?
So instead of doing 4 lines, I just had 16 rows. The key being numbers 1 through 16, and then each value holding that. And then I would overwrite each row with a dice value when you called shake.
Okay.
And
Yep, that's
dictionary.
Interesting. Yeah, that's definitely one way to do it. So yeah, I'm sure if I look at every single person's game board, everyone's would be some variation of using arrays, nested arrays, or a matrix, dictionary, strings, something. But I'm just going to go ahead and use array of 16 underlined strings. So easy way to do that. Create an array with 1 underlined string, And if you just do 16, it actually multiplies that. So I can print that. So like, I can like def view game board self, and that just like print, or I guess I can just return self.gameboard. So if I wanted to create a new Boggle instance, I'll just say game or Boggle equals BoggleBoard, and then print Boggle dot view game board and invoke that. I'm gonna close that out. And if I went Python BoggleBoard, there we've got 16, an array of 16. So this is what I'm going to work with. If you did it differently, 100% totally okay. So the next thing I want to do is, let's see. When a new BoggleBoard is initialized, the output should look something like that. Something like that. So I guess the output can look like that if I initialize. So maybe if I do a dunder string, it'll initialize. But what I'm going to do is, so I'm just going to try to get this to work, just to print each one like so. So I've got view game board like so, but then I want to def print board. And this is going to be like the formatted board. So I can say like print formatted board, but I'm just going to call it print board. And this one, I can either grab each. So I'm trying to think, how do I go ahead and print the game board or print the board to make it look like this? So what I'm thinking, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through this game board, but step every single 4. So I'm going to do a step counter. So the first time it loops through, it's going to grab that one, not necessarily grab that one, but the first time it loops through starts at index 0. The next time it's going to start at index 4, or I guess that would be 3. Like 0, 1, 2, yeah, index 4, and then index whatever 8, and then index essentially, or I guess it'd be every 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be a step counter thing. So I'm going to do for I in range, and I'm going to start at index 0. And go to the length of the self.gameboard, and it's going to step every 4. So if I were to print I, which is the index, I think it should be like 0, 4, 8, 12, 16. Any questions about that? About this range thing. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and print Boggle dot print board. Clear the terminal. So that's where the view of the game board now it just prints index 0, 4, 8, 12. Because I wanted to print 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it prints the loop through it so I can get 4 lines. So if I have that, now I can use slicing by just grabbing the part of the board and only grabbing from like index. So the first time it loops through, it grabs the index 0 and index 1, 2, and 3. So if I wanted to do that, I can print self.gameboard at index I, which is the first time it loops through is 0, Second time I loops through is 4. Second time or third time at 8, and then 12. Now, how do I slice only a section of the game board?
You use the colon.
So I can do colon. Let's see what that does. So colon. The first time, I guess I'm gonna actually comment this out. Or I guess I'll just delete that. The first time it does it, I is 0, and colon means it goes all the way to the grab everything from I to the very end of the array. So the first time it actually prints the entire array because it starts at I and I is 0. And then, excuse me, the second time it loops through, I is 4. So it grabs the value at index, starts at index 4 down to the end of the array. So now it grabs just the last 12. The third time it goes through, it's 8. So 8 to the end of the array, grabs the last 8. And then the third time or fourth time it goes through, I is 12. And it takes in 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I guess it would be like 13, 14, 15, 16. So I don't necessarily want colon. I just want to grab I and then the next 4, I guess next 3 elements in the array.
So I plus 4.
Yep. So I want to do I, so 0 and then 0 plus 4. So this is exclusive of index 4. So it only actually grabs the next 3 indexes. So if I were to do that, if I clear that, now I have an array almost starting to look like this part right here. So I'm actually grabbing the first 4 elements right here, and the second or elements 4 through 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 through 11, and then 12 through 16. Now, if I actually wanted to print, I need to join these together. Let's see. So I can do dot join. So if I wanted to do that, let's see what that looks like. All right, so I've joined this array together with a space in between. If I didn't want that space, I can clear that. And there we go. We have what that looks like. So I can even just return that. Oh, not return, sorry. I need that print there. So there, yeah, that just prints it out. Any questions on that? Like so. If you've done it, if you did it differently, totally okay. All right. So next, Shake should have ASCII level or characters. So I'm just going to use the alphabet. I can do a couple of things. I can just do alphabet and literally just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. Like that. And just grab from this string or turn this into an array and grab it as well. I'm just going to do that just because it was easy to write. But if you wrote some method to generate the alphabet and uppercase them, that's totally okay as well. But I'm just going to do this up here as a, I'm going to use it as a class variable for this time, but maybe in the future, I actually might make this an instance variable or whatever represents the characters in step 2 as an instance variable. All right. Any questions about this alphabet? So shake. All right. What do I want shake to do? So shake can randomize. So what I'm thinking is just like grabbing a random index between 0 and 25 and replacing it inside of this array. So let's see. How can I grab a random index between 0 and 25?
Randint.
Randint. So is it random dot rand int 0 through 25? Is that what that does?
It's exclusive, so 0 through 25. You want 25, right?
It's 20.
You have to import random.
All right, so I also have to import random. All right, I actually don't know. I'm just going to print rand num, and then I'm going to comment that out and print boggle dot shake. Invoke that, run that. So 17, 23. So okay, I'm getting random numbers. There we go. So now shake. So I'm going to grab a random number, but I don't just want to grab a random number once. I want to grab a random number 16 times, or a random integer 16 times. So I'm going to loop through, not necessarily loop through. I mean, I guess I could do that. Yeah, I guess I'll iterate through this game board, grab a random number, which corresponds to the index of whatever letter from the string. And then I'm going to reassign this random number index. I guess I don't even know. I have to yeah, I guess I'm just going to replace that index with that random letter.
If you don't want to reassign the value 16 times, you can also use, there's random has a dot choice function that will, instead of assigning a number, it'll just grab a value out of your string.
Out of this string?
Yeah, so if you do like, if you set one of your board tiles equal to random dot choice, and then you input that string, it'll give you a value, because that's what I used.
So random dot choice. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it just skips the step of having to actually generate a number, assign that number, and then pass that value in.
Ah, is this for arrays or can it be also strings?
I think strings as well, because the first time I did it, I used
Well,
strings dot ASCII upper, and I did pass that string into random dot choice, so it should work with a string.
All right, let's just try it out. I like trying out new things. BoggleBoard alphabet. So random character. If I do that, we got Z, F, cool. So yeah, it's grabbing random characters. Cool. I'll do that. So with that, so I'm gonna loop through the game board for I. I'm gonna also use I'm gonna use enumerate and enumerate self dot game board. I'm not using this space. That's what the underscore is, but that space corresponds to an actual the value at that index. So grab that random letter. So let's actually run that. That should do it 16 times. Wait, nope. We got to print that. Print random character. So it looks like it picked 16 random characters from the alphabet. There we go. So now I can just do self dot game board at whatever index that is equals random character. So if I do that, and then I print the game board. Let's see if this works. Well, before I do that, after it loops through it, I'm just gonna return self.game board just for the hell of it. I don't necessarily need to do that. I'm accidentally in there. Oh, so I'm going to do Python BoggleBoard. And so now we have a game board, or we have an initial game board of an array of 16 random letters from the alphabet. Now, if I wanted to print the game board, so I'm going to get rid of that return self.game board because I don't necessarily need that. So I don't need to print the shake button or the shake method. But now I'm going to print that game board and come down to the terminal, run that. There we go. I'm actually going to add that little space there because I like to see some space in between there. There, we got a random. Yeah, a random game board like so. All right. So that is actually part one of the challenge. What questions do you all have about part one of the challenge? No?
I have a quick question for you.
Yep.
Couldn't we take a slice of BoggleBoard.alphabet and then every time we pull a letter from it, pop out that letter from the slice?
So
Every time we shake, we're getting a new slice of the alphabet.
every time you shake.
Basically to avoid duplicate letters.
Do we want to avoid duplicate letters? So it says they can.
Oh, okay. They can appear multiple times.
Yeah. So yeah, in your case, if you only wanted one instance of each letter, then yeah, you would do exactly what you said.
Okay, cool.
What other questions do you have about part one? All right, let's move on to part two. So we currently implement our board without modeling the dice. We should do that next. So we actually have to model the dice. When modeling the die, it's important to conceptualize how this will work in the real world. It helps grab some real dice and toss them. What happens? One side lands face up, and that's our chosen letter, right? How many possible letters can be exposed on any roll of dice? So perhaps we should leverage a second array to model a die landing on only one cell without explicitly making note of which dice have landed and which haven't. All right. So this list, or this models the actual dice or die in Boggle. So what it says is we're going to use a second array to model a die. So I'm going to actually use this as the die. And in this, instead of using a string for the alphabet, I'm going to actually do self.dice, which is I'm going to use an array of 16 different die. This is kind of annoying that I have to. And I could make this a a class variable. But each game, I'm just thinking of like each game of Boggle is totally different. Like literally each instance has its own dice or own die. So that's why I'm making it a instance variable, but feel free to also make this a class variable if you want. So if this is what we are picking random letters from now, what we need to do is essentially shuffle this dice and pick a random number from this each die. So we're going to have to refactor our shake. So I want to see if I can do random die. Well, I guess we actually have to grab. We can't just do this random choice anymore from this entire thing because we can only use one die once. So we can only grab a letter from this die once. We can't like grab multiple letters from this die as we roll.
I
So-
think you still can. If
No,
you
'cause-
just go down the list. So if you set your for loop to go slot by slot through your board, so like 4x in your board values, since you have 16,
Mhm.
you can then assign, you can do self.board x is equal to, or a variable, random.choice, and then your dice array of x minus 1. Well, actually, it would still be x since you're used an array, so it's still 0 indexed.
Right. No, yeah, I was more of saying like we can't leverage this die to fill in multiple spots on the game board. That's kind of what I was getting at.
If you randomize dice before looping through dice, then you would effectively be doing it.
Yep. So we'd have to randomize the dice. We'd have to, instead of just going straight down, we need to shuffle this.
There's a random.shuffle function.
Yep. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do random.shuffle. So shuffle actually shuffles the dice in place. So if I were to print self.dice, let's go ahead and run shake again and just print the dice. So if I clear that, so we've got an array of die, but if I keep doing it, each time it's different because it's shuffled. So now we have access to a shuffled die. Now I can use this random choice on each self.dice. How many dice are there? Are there 16? 1, 2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Good. So because the game board has as many spots as dice, we can just leverage the index of that. So random.choice just grabs a random character in each spot of the die. And then we can just replace that character. Let's see if this works. All right. So if I come down here and I shake it and then I print the game board, there we go. We've got everything working so far. Now we just have to deal with the pesky queue. That should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to just make that letter instead of, because that grabs a random letter. So I can say like, hey, if letter equals Q, letter equals QU, and I need double equals. So if this letter just so happens to retrieve this Q out of that dice, I'm reassigning this value to QU, and then I'm replacing that index in the game board with that QU. So if I were to do that, see if you can get a QU in there. Oh, come on. Something's broken. How is there not a QU? So is my logic messed up? Oh, there it is. So there is a QU right there. All right. And I think that's it. I'm not really worried about this being. So there's a space there. So here there's two spaces. And then here, once it's a Q, it's only one space. I really don't care about that. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to deal with that, but overall, the logic works. So with that, what questions do you have about game board, Boggle? So I can get add, get status, get commit, instructor solution, get push origin master. If I look up here, and if I refresh that, at the instructor solution, can make a pull request, new pull request. So I'm requesting from part-time Charlie Boggle in the master. I'm requesting to pull in Tom Preetz Boggle master code. If you solved it differently, it's totally okay. Yeah. All right. What questions do you have?